Testing audio. Did you hear it?
Kind of.
Audio test. again, like, it's not fully confirmed in my calendar, so I wasn't sure. I've covered it once. Well, yeah, they have it once in a big room. So maybe not actually like sitting on long, depending on how long the day is. But he's gonna be sitting with Matt. Wednesday. Oh, yeah. There's more than one entity to locate district. Basically, calculate sky, elevated dimensions, so yeah, exactly. I got lunch today, and then I came out from, the underground parking. So I walked through the courtyard, but the way the courtyard is, like, I guess, like, all the wind from multiple directions, like, funnels to the garage entrance. Like, I'm a big guy, but, like, it, like, knocked me back. I had to, like, go like this and, like, lean in and, like, walk. Like, oh my God. Like, we secured the alarm umbrella like last night. But when I came out this morning, the wire just pulled it all kinds of stuff. Like, the wire here. Are you gonna be helping Sarah with Ali's not gonna be here, so I didn't have to be here all the time. No. I'm not saying you need to be late. I was just curious. If you need to go, that's totally fine. I wasn't sure what the time was. This is John from the Santa Ana IT. Sarah is not here yet, but some of us are.
Hey Marcus, I have a phone to edit.
Oh, hi, John. How are you? It's just you and I, huh? Am I under the understanding that you have to recuse yourself on item one?
Yep, it's actually on no property. It's a different name, but it's the company.
Clarifying that because it appears that we're gonna have 4 people for that particular item. Because 2 people are not making it on the outside, and then maybe even a third person. So I'm considering maybe continuing it for at least 1 meeting.
That makes sense.
I think it's important enough to get more participation than that.
Hey, now that it's another
How are you doing with that? Fine?
I was gonna say the weather was it was like really cold when I woke up this morning, which is really nice, and then I heard about the fire, and I'm like, what is that?
Oh yeah, I was actually out. I was out with some people, and it was brutal. The winds were brutal. The smoke was brutal, and it was just wow. I don't know how bad it is, but one of the people I was with during the accident, he got home and they were told to evacuate, and they had a command center set up in the park across the hill, which is down at it's towards Green River in that area. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, my mother-in-law's in New York, and she's like, do you have a evacuation kit ready? Like it's 14 miles away. I feel.
Well, you know, it's interesting, but my neighbor across the street talked about that with his mother, and his mother's like 93 years old. And so he said, hey, Mom, get something together because they tell you to get out of there. And when you get out of there, yeah.
Okay, so I just want to give you an update. Norma just texted me right now to let me know that she has an emergency, and wait, I might have missed emergency issue, or I might have to miss. I have some emergency issues on my end. So for item
Okay.
1, Vincent is trying to reach Commissioner Morrissey.
Hey, I'm online.
Oh, hi, Commissioner Morrissey. Okay, so then that puts us at
Okay.
So just so you know, that will put us at 4 for item 1, and then 5 for item. Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. We're gonna
No,
have
that doesn't make sense.
yeah. We're gonna have Commissioner Lynn for sure, Commissioner Rivera, and Commissioner Garcia. So that's already
That's
3.
3.
And then
Now, hold on. Okay, Sarah.
yes.
Let me jump in here. Okay, so on item 1, 1801, on item 1, we're not going to have a quorum.
Right.
We're going to have 3 people.
Right.
So at this point in time, you know, I think at this point we probably will have to continue 1801.
That's what it appears to be because we don't have a quorum. We will
Right.
have a quorum of just 4 for item number 2.
Good. Yeah. I'm less concerned about that than I am concerned about having just, you know, having just 3 or 4 people to discuss a very significant project. Postponing it at least until the next meeting.
Right, and if we just have 3, then that is something we will have to do.
And the fact that we have Cynthia, Todd, Tom, and myself available to start the meeting, we can decide to move item 2, item 1, boy. Hi. Hi. So anyway, I was telling you, so you're not, you're on the south side of the southwest side of the city, right?
Yeah, so I'm not, I told my mother-in-law, we have to stay through with no sleep. So cold because
Yeah. It's scary though. It's very scary. Everything else going all right?
worried about all the time. Cause we had a couple.
Right. It's been a long time since we had.
Well,
Yeah.
my husband and I were in Lancaster last year during the,
Oh.
but that big earthquake right up there. And that was the scariest earthquake they had. It was the first time in my life, and the way to California, actually went and jumped in it for a long time, which we're scared actually, because the whole house shifted about,
Right.
9 hours. Morning.
Who's online? Jay or something? Okay. Cynthia, are you there? Okay. So Bill just needs to state on the record at that time when the item is called, the reason for the recusal. Right. Great. Okay.
When you are.
All right, so Madam Secretary, could you please start recording the meeting?
Okay, we're live.
Okay. I would like to call this regular Planning Commission meeting of October 26, 2020 to order. Vince, can you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yes, I can. All right. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Vince. Madam Secretary, please take a roll call.
Okay, roll call. Commissioner Garcia. Commissioner Morrissey.
Here.
Commissioner Nguyen. Commissioner Fan.
Here.
Commissioner Rivera. Vice Chair Contreras-Leo.
Here.
And Chair McLaughlin.
Here.
Chair, you have quorum.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Now, I'd like to invite the Commission Secretary to describe the way the public can access this virtual meeting.
Thank you, Chair. This meeting is being live streamed via YouTube at www.youtube.com/City of Santa Ana video/live, and to our website at www.santa-ana.org/cc/city-meetings. While the meeting is in progress, the public may provide a comment by phone. To comment by phone, please dial 1-669-900-9128, enter meeting ID 315-965-149, followed by the pound sign. When prompted for a participant ID, just enter pound. When the item that you would like to comment on is being discussed, please dial *9. When the comment period is opened, I will call on you by the last three numbers listed on the caller ID. After you are called upon, you must press *6 to unmute yourself. After you have unmuted yourself, please state your name, your position on the matter, and your comment. You will have 3 comments. I will alert you when your time is up. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, I think that the correct statement there is you'll have 3 minutes to comment. I think you said 3 comments. So,
Oh, did I? I'm sorry. Yes, you will have 3 minutes to state your comment.
thank you. Appreciate that. Moving on to public comments on non-agenda items. Madam Secretary, does anyone wish to speak at this point in time?
If you'd like to comment on a non-agenda item, please dial *9 now. I'll wait a couple of seconds. Chair, we do not have anyone that'd like to make a non-agenda item, a comment on a non-agenda item.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. With that said, then, we will close public comments on non-agenda items, and we'll move to the consent calendar. Moving to the consent calendar, can I have a motion to accept the minutes from the last regularly scheduled Planning Commission meeting? So moved.
So moved. Second.
Okay, so we have second by Kai Fan. All right. Madam Secretary, will you do a roll call, please?
Yes, I have a motion by Commissioner Morrissey, a second by Fan, and I will do the roll call now. Commissioner Garcia, Commissioner Morrissey,
Aye.
Commissioner Nguyen, Commissioner Fan,
Aye.
Commissioner Rivera, Vice Chair Contreras-Leo,
Aye.
Chair McLaughlin.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0-3 with Commissioner Garcia, Fan, and Rivera absent.
Okay.
Commissioner Nguyen absent.
I'm sorry?
She said Garcia, Rivera, and Fan absent?
I'm sorry, Garcia, Rivera, and Commissioner Nguyen. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, so what I'd like to do is I'd like to make a motion and second for excusing the absentee of Commissioner Garcia, Commissioner Nguyen, and Commissioner Rivera.
I'll move.
Second. So it's Tatan moved and Tom Marcy second. Madam Secretary, will you do a roll call?
Yes, roll call for absences. Commissioner Garcia, Commissioner Morrissey, Commissioner Nguyen, Commissioner Fan,
Aye.
Commissioner Rivera, Vice Chair Contreras-Leo,
Aye.
Chair McLaughlin.
Aye.
Motion passes with Commissioner Garcia, Nguyen, and Rivera absent.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. At this point in time, we will close the consent calendar and move on to the business calendar, public hearings. Let me just talk a little bit about public hearing protocol. I will now review the process for public hearings so that everyone knows what to expect. Staff will provide a presentation and answer any questions from the Commission. The public hearing will then be opened. The applicant will be given the opportunity to speak, limited to 15 minutes. Members of the public will be given the opportunity to comment, limited to 3 minutes. The applicant will be given the opportunity to respond to comments made by the public, limited to 5 minutes. The public hearing will then be closed. Discussion will return to the Commission with formal action taken to approve, conditionally approve, deny, or continue review of the application. Please consider the following suggestions when organizing your comments. Please state your name and address. Please state whether you support, oppose, or are neutral to this project. Your statement should include all pertinent facts within your knowledge. Avoid gossip, emotion, repetition. A clear, concise, non-repetitive argument is most effective. What we are going to do at this point in time is my recommendation is that we're going to move item 1 to the second item, and we're going to move item 2 up to the first item. And so I'd like to hold on 1 second. Okay, now's the time and place to consider item 2, environmental review number 2018-83, general plan amendment 2020-04, addendum application number 2020-02, and tentative track map number 2019-02 for the property located at 301 and 305 North Mountain View Street. Please note the decision on this tentative track map and corresponding environmental document is final unless appealed. Recommendation on the general plan amendment application and corresponding environmental document will be forwarded to the City Council for final determination at a later date. Before we begin, do any of the commissioners have anything they wish to disclose with respect to this item?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. Ty, Cynthia Contreras-Leo?
I said no.
Okay. Okay.
Nothing to say.
All right. And I have nothing at this point in time. Okay. Jerry, your presentation, please go ahead.
Thank you, Chairman. Good evening, Chairman and Commissioners. As mentioned, this is a request by Steve Jones with Olympia Capital Corporation for various entitlements in order to facilitate the construction of an 8-unit condominium development at 301 and 305 North Mountain View Street.
Jerry? Sorry, Chair. Is there any way Jerry can move closer to the mic? It kind of sounds like echo in a bathroom.
Okay, just 1 second. We're going to move around and see if that helps. Just 1 moment.
Commissioner Tai, could you better hear me now?
It's better, but it is a weird echo.
Put that one on. Okay, we're gonna try one more thing and see if that helps.
Hello? Hello? Does that sound better? Okay.
Sounds a little better.
All right, moving on to slide number 21. The project site is located on the east side of Mountain View Street between 5th Street and to the north and 1st Street to the south, and is highlighted in red as being depicted on the aerial map. The property's general plan is low medium density residential, and the zoning is general agricultural. It is surrounded by multifamily residential developments to the north, south, and east, and single-family residential residents to the west. The property currently measures approximately 32,000 square feet in size and is currently developed with 2 single-family residents. Moving on to slide number 22. The project consists of the demolition of the 2 existing single-family residents and the construction of 8 residential units with 32 parking spaces, a 2,065 square feet common on-site open space areas, and private areas that range between 360 square feet to 850 square feet per unit, which are incorporated as part of their patio covers as well as the rear yards. Moving on to slide number 23. This is the proposed site plan. The development consists of 4 buildings or 4 duplexes, each consisting of 2 units with an enclosed 2-car garage per unit. The units are approximately 1,800 square feet in size and contain 3 bedrooms. Each unit has a 100 square foot patio cover attached to the rear of the building. And as mentioned, they also incorporate private areas that range between 360 square feet to 850 square feet per unit. The site will be accessible from a private drive aisle off of Main Street that leads to the entrance of the driveway of each residential unit, which will accommodate for 2 paved parking spaces per unit. In addition, as mentioned, the project also provides common outdoor area, which are being highlighted in red on the site plan. These areas are between buildings B and C. That particular common area roughly equates to 835 square feet. And there are 2 additional common areas between building A and B and another one between building C and D that provide an additional 600 square feet of open space area. These areas have been designed to include grass play areas, benches, trash and recycle bins, as well as pedestrian lighting and bike racks. The site plan was designed to respect the privacy of the developments to the north, south, and east. In addition to that, the applicant is providing mature separate streets along the east and south property lines to further protect the privacy of those existing developments. Moving on to slide number 24. This is the proposed floor plans of the units. In particular, the ones being displayed is for building A, which is the building closest to Mountain View Street. The first floor consists of, which is being depicted on the left, of the kitchen, living room, dining area with a half bathroom, and as mentioned, a attached 2-car garage. The second floor, which is being depicted to the right, consists mainly of the 3 bedrooms and 2.5 bathrooms, as well as a laundry closet for each dwelling unit. And the floor plans for buildings B, C, and D are pretty much identical to the particular floor plans for building A, with the exception of the first unit. Moving on to slide number 25. This is a proposed rendering of the project looking from the north. The buildings were designed as a contemporary Spanish architectural style, which do include a variety of architectural elements such as smooth stucco, arches above windows and doors, window shutters, tiled and ironwork, and clay roof tiles. Each building uses different stucco color as well as different roof tiles. In addition, the buildings also have different stucco colors. Buildings A and C have been designed to somewhat be identical, with the exceptions of building B and D having incorporated shutters for some of the window placements. Moving on to slide number 26. And this is the different type of architecture style that was implemented for building A, which gives you the elevations for the front, side, as well as the rear elevations. And these are the elevations for building D. As mentioned, building D and building B are pretty much identical with the exception of their color scheme. Moving on to slide number 28. The applicant's requesting approval of general plan amendment in order to change the land use destination of the property from low-medium density to medium density. In addition, as part of this application, staff is also recommending that the entire block between 5th Street and 1st Street also be changed from low-medium residential to MR15. And this is in an effort to pretty much clean up the land use to be consistent with the zoning. In addition to that, it reflects current land use for that particular block. Moving on to slide number 29. In addition to the general plan amendment, the applicant is also requesting an amendment application, and that is in order to change the current zoning of the property from agricultural to R2. As previously mentioned, in addition, staff is also recommending that the Planning Commission recommend approval of a zone change for the entire block to make it consistent with the general plan, and that consists of changing majority of the portion of that block to R2, with the exception of 2 areas to be downzoned to R1. Now moving on to slide number 30. Lastly, the applicant is requesting approval of a subdivision map in order to subdivide the property for condominium purposes. So this would allow each condo unit to be sold separately, and then there would be a common interest lot that would be owned by a homeowners association as well as any other common areas. Moving on to slide number 31. The project site plan contains a central common open space, as mentioned, with a pedestrian walkway leading to each unit entrance. Each unit contains a 2-car garage. In addition to that, 2 additional parking spaces are provided along the driveways, which meets the Santa Ana Municipal Code, which requires a minimum of 4 parking spaces per unit. In addition to parking, this particular development also complies with the various code requirements as specified in the Santa Ana Municipal Code. In addition to that, the project is a condominium development that will allow for additional homeownership housing. And as proposed, the general plan as well as the zone change is needed in order to clean up the block and make the general plan and the zoning of the property and the general vicinity consistent with each other, which reflects current existing land use patterns. And this would pretty much encourage a cohesive development pattern for that particular block. Moving on to slide number 32. In accordance with the California Environmental Quality Act, a mitigated negative declaration was prepared for the project. The draft mitigated negative deck was circulated for 30 days for public review as required by law between June 8th, 2020 and July 8th, 2020. The negative declaration also contains a mitigation monitoring and reporting program that has mitigation measures to address biological resources, geology and soils, noise, hydrology and water, cultural resources, and tribal cultural resources. Moving on to slide number 33, staff's recommendation. With that, staff is recommending that the Planning Commission adopt Environmental Review number 2018-83 for the tenant track map and approve tenant track map number 2019-02 and recommend that the City Council adopt environmental review number 2018-83 for the GPA and the AA, and approve general plan amendment number 2020-04 and approve amendment application number 2020-02. With that concludes staff presentations, and I am here to answer any of your questions.
Thank you, Jerry. We'll now ask, do any of the commissioners have anything that they would like to ask of staff? I'll start with Commissioner Morrissey.
Yes, I do have a question. Thank you. I'm not quite sure I understand so we're redesignating the property as higher density property, but it has R2 overlay. Is that what I'm understanding? It's going to
Commissioner Morrissey, that is correct. So the current zoning destination for the property is agricultural. So the majority of that particular block is actually zoned R2. Unfortunately, this is something that has not been changed from the staff's perspective. So in order for the applicant, or in order for staff to recommend approval of the zone change, then we also need to look at the general plan, which is inconsistent. The corresponding land use destination for R2 is MR15, which is the medium density.
and what would the height restriction be in this case?
27 feet, 2 stories maximum.
2 stories maximum?
That is correct. It's the same.
Okay.
It's the same for R1 as well. That is correct. So there's portions of that entire block that were down zoning from low medium density to low density to, which is pretty much LR7, which only allows for single family homes. And that is primarily to clean up that block, and which is consistent with the current developments out there. So those areas that are highlighted in yellow, which are denoted as LR, are pretty much single family homes. And then the majority of that block, it's already multifamily.
Having a commercial that's more higher density would be warranted as opposed to down zoning to a lower density. I'm not sure I understand the purpose of down, reducing the density.
So-
Where it would seem like we actually want to increase it.
So again, we take into consideration the existing development pattern for that entire block. That particular section that you're referring to is currently a multifamily apartment complex. And if you look further east along First Street, there's also additional apartments. So that was the rationale for changing it from general commercial to MR15 to make it consistent with the current land use pattern in that area. Commissioner Morris, are you referring to the commercial section or the?
The south, I'm looking at a site map on page 81. Similar to the slide you have up, might be the next slide.
Just to clarify, Commissioner Morsi, there are two different requests. There's a request for a general plan amendment, and there's the request for the zone change. So currently the property is zoned R2. It's going to maintain the existing zoning as R2 for that particular property that you're referring to, that we're changing from commercial to MR15.
on that,
Page 81 of the packet. And I saw another map that appeared this on First Street. We were going from R2 to R1.
From A1 to R1.
okay, so we have between Mountain View and New Hope, those are R1.
That is correct, and we're not touching that block.
Right.
Okay, so
We're going from A1 to
Right.
R1.
At, well, that was another question I had. It seems like all the development around there is is an R2, higher density.
That's confusing because this is
Yet we're choosing to change the general plan to create this MR15 in just this one kind of north-south swatch of property. When we want to change the property between New Hope and Mountain View, well, that's the direction that development is taking. I mean, it's a broader issue in terms of the general plan.
That is correct, Commissioner Morse. That's something that we will have to analyze from a general plan perspective, and that's something that we are looking to update in the future. But for this particular project, which is something similar we did for another project on Bewley Street, we just looked at the entire block and we just analyzed that particular block in terms of the general plan and the zone change to clean it up. It's not.
But I saw another map where we were changing that to an R1. Is that correct? I just want to clarify that.
That is not correct, Commissioner Morsi. If you look at the current display for the PowerPoint, that is the zone change. To your left is the existing, to the right is the proposed. So what we're basically changing are the agricultural zoning district destinations from agricultural to R1s, portions of them, and the other portions to R2.
So I see the light yellow is R1, the rest is R2.
That is correct. I'm sorry, we probably should have done a better job with the graphics, but yes, that is correct.
okay, any other questions, Commissioner Morrissey? No, not at this time. Okay, Commissioner Fan. Okay, Vice Chair Commissioner Leo. Okay, I just want to make sure I'm looking at the same map that Tom was referencing. And so what is under the site right now is R2. Is that correct?
Chairman, can you repeat your question?
Okay. What I'm saying is right now I'm looking at page 81 out of the document that we got.
Okay.
And I'm just asking again that what is under the site right now is R2, and then above it is R2, and then below it is R4. are we changing the R4 to R2?
That is correct, Chairman. But just to clarify, the site is currently zoned agricultural. So we're changing that to R2.
Like, where do I, oh, okay, so you're saying it's an A1, the current site is A1.
Correctly, and if you're looking at page 81 of your staff report, that is pretty much the gray white area.
Yeah, I mean, it looks as though we have A1, we have a large area of A1 to the right of the site and below the site.
That is correct, but we're not touching the area to the right or to the east of the site.
So we're only touching the A1 area that's at the top?
At the top and the
we're
south.
Touching the A1 area that's below what is considered to be R4 right now.
That is correct.
Any reason why we're not going after the section to the right?
Chairman, so the general plan amendment and zone changes do require intensive amount of research as well as community engagement. And normally we kind of do this when we received an application by a developer, similar to the one for Bewley. In this case, the developer is pretty much, as part of the environmental, also analyzed the changes for this entire block.
Any other questions of the commission at this point in time? I'll go to Tom Marcy.
No further questions. Thank you.
Typhan?
No questions at this time.
All right. Cynthia Contreras-Leo.
Not right now, thank you.
Okay, Jerry, thank you very much for the presentation. Madam Secretary, have we received any written communication at this point in time?
Yes, we received 5 comments in opposition to the matter. Those have been distributed and posted on the website.
Okay. Thank you very much. With that said, the public hearing is now open. Would the applicant like to speak on this matter?
Yes, this is Bill Jager. I'm with, I work along with Stephen Jones, and we represent the owner Lynn Bowie on this project. We've worked with the staff for well over a year on trying to develop a high-quality project in this well-established neighborhood, and it fits in well with the neighborhood. And I want to point out that we have absolutely no variances for the project, and we are parked to code. The staff report was quite thorough, and there's really not much more than we can add to it. So I remain here to answer any questions that you might have after hearing any of the other public comments.
Okay. Does any of the commissioners have any questions of the applicant at this point in time? Commissioner Marcy?
No, I don't. Thank you.
Commissioner Fan?
No, I don't.
Commissioner Contreras-Leo, Vice Chair Contreras-Leo?
I do. In regards to parking, it seems like that's one of the biggest issues from the residents that have written in.
Mm-hmm.
Are the owners of the condos going to be limited to parking in their garage and driveways, or are the sidewalks going to be long enough for others to park there as well?
The way that this works is that each unit has a 2-car garage and then 2 guest parking spots in the driveway approach in front of the garage. There is no parking allowed in the long drive aisle that services the 4 different buildings. And within our CC&Rs, we will restrict the garages and the driveway approaches from being used for anything but parking.
So, in terms of, from our point of view, our site is completely self-contained, and, we won't need parking off-site.
So
Does
then,
that answer your question?
yeah, so in a ideal situation, the owners of the condo will park only in their garages and driveways. Technically, it shouldn't affect existing parking in the neighborhood.
Correct.
And there's going to be a process or something that keeps that in check.
Yes. I mean, we can't keep a resident from parking on the street, on a public street, but, as far as our site is concerned, we meet the code that establishes 4 parking spots per separate unit.
And it will be in your CCNRs to the residents in regards
Yes.
to what's expected of them in regards to parking.
Correct. Like, each resident will not be allowed to, say, turn their garage into a storage unit.
Okay.
Or, park a boat, in their front yard.
Sure. Okay, thank you.
Let me pick up on that comment. When you say that the homeowner, the condominium owner, will not be able to turn his or her garage into a storage area?
Correct. I mean, they can't fill their garage up with a bunch of boxes and stuff, and not be able to park a car in there. So if any of the other residents finds that, they can complain to the homeowners association that has the power to keep a garage from being used for anything other than a garage.
That's an interesting situation, because I've walked through this city for the last 8 weeks, and I would say probably about 60 to 70% of the people that have 2-car garages are basically using them as storage areas or offices,
right,
or something of that nature. So I'm curious as to how this is going to be controlled differently than somebody that owns a house down the street from where you are, and they have their garage made into a gym or a storage area.
Well, that's the point of the CCNRs. The CCNRs are there to put teeth to the rules, and if they're in violation of the CCNRs, then there's remedies that the homeowners association can have against each individual resident. I mean, the point is to keep it from having no parking for the other residents.
Let me ask you another question with regards to parking. Every resident has 4 parking spaces. Okay, got that. What happens if I decide to have a family get together at my house, and where do my guests park?
On the street.
Okay. Is there permit parking? Is there permit parking on Mountain View or on the adjacent New Hope?
Not to my knowledge, but I would ask staff if they could answer that question.
Vince, Jerry, do you answer that question?
Chairman, Mountain View does not have permit parking along that segment, but I'm not too sure about New Hope.
Mountain View doesn't have permit parking, is what you're saying.
That is correct.
Okay. What about New Hope?
I will have to speak to Public Works on that matter, Chairman.
Okay, I mean, the concern, like Cynthia mentioned, is that the people that were that were not wanting to approve this project were basically basing their rationale on parking. So I hear we have this situation where we're gonna have 4 parking spaces and it's gonna be enforced to get 4 parking spaces. But, I'm not seeing the remedy of guests or guest parking or anything like that. So, I share the concern of the parking issues.
Well, the guest parking is in the driveways. Each unit is sized such that it was required 2 enclosed parking spots plus 2 guests, and the 2 guest parking spots are in the driveway approach.
It's right there.
Right. So, I don't know how, how the city could require more guest parking than what the code requires.
Okay. So you're basically saying that at this point in time, the guest parking that we have, which is
In the driveway.
8 units times 2, 16 parking spaces are considered to be guest units.
Correct.
Okay. All right. I don't have any other questions at this point in time of the applicant. Madam Secretary, do we have any telephone comments at this point in time?
If you'd like to comment on this item, please dial *9 now. I'll wait a couple of seconds to see if there's anyone that'd like to speak.
Thank you.
Chair, we do not have any speakers on this item.
Okay, thank you, Madam Secretary. Having said that, we will now close the public hearing, and before we do anything, since there were no final comments from the public, does the applicant have any final remarks that they would like to make?
No, not at this time. We just thank you for all your service.
Okay, Bill. Thank you very much. With that, we'll close the public hearing, and we'll bring it back to the commission for final questions of staff. Commissioner Morrissey, do you have any questions or comments?
A good point was made on the visitor parking. How is the code written for these developments in terms of visitor parking? Obviously, if you're visiting Unit 4, you're not going to park in the driveway of Unit 2. If the 2 spaces are used up in Unit 4, you go out on the street. So does this meet the intent of the visitor parking requirements?
Commissioner Morrissey, that is correct. Per code, each unit is required to have 2 parking spaces and 2 guest parking spaces.
Per unit?
Per unit, that is correct.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. I just wanted to get clarification on that. So there's 16 guest parking, 16 owner parking.
That is correct, Chairman.
Okay. All right. Commissioner Fan, do you have any questions?
I just wanted some clarification regarding the permit parking on Mountain View. I believe one of the public comments mentioned that the side of the street opposite the development is permitted, right? But not the side of the development.
Commissioner Tai, my understanding was that entire segment of Mountain View does not have permit parking. But I will have to...
Jerry, this is Craig. I'm on the line.
Hi, Tig.
Hey, Craig. Thank you. Hi, Commissioners. Good evening. The segment between 1st and 5th on Mountain View does have permit parking. Any of the units, in any of the properties that have more than 4 units would not be eligible for permit parking. So, for example, this particular development with 8 units would not have permit parking in front of it. So any of the single family or any developments that are 4 units or less would be eligible for permit parking, but not the subject development. So these 8 units don't have the ability to get permit parking. That's correct, Mr. Chair. Aye?
Okay, I mean, that's fine by me. I mean, each of these units are 3 bedrooms if we're being generally realistic, right? If it's a family of 4, they have teenagers, usually you have 4 cars, maybe. And then some guests on the street, but those may also be, not consistently on the street. So I do appreciate that they're providing all the parking that they're legally required to. But I don't have any questions right now. Thank you.
Okay. Vice Chair Contreras-Leo.
No, they've been answered. Thank you.
Okay. I'm fine. I mean, I think that there are some real potential issues down the line with regards to parking. But at this point in time, given the options that we have, it doesn't appear that there are that many options. Obviously, permit parking is not something that can be done. And for this particular development, we've understood that. There's 2 units for the owner and 2 units for guests. Having, I guess, no other items to discuss at this point in time, would anybody like to make a motion with regards to this item?
I'll make a motion to approve environmental review number 2018-83, 2020-04, and 2020-02, and 2019-02 for 301 and 305 North Maltby Street as conditions.
Okay, thank you, Tom. Is there a second?
I'll second. This is fine.
Okay. All right, we have a motion, we have a second. Any further discussion on this item at this point in time? Hearing none, Madam Secretary, would you please do a roll call vote?
Yes, roll call vote. Motion by Commissioner Morrissey, second by Commissioner Fan. Commissioner Morrissey,
Aye.
Commissioner Fan,
Aye.
Vice Chair Contreras-Leo,
Aye.
Chair McLaughlin.
Aye.
Motion passes with Commissioner Garcia, Nguyen, and Rivera absent.
Okay, so it's 5-0.
4-0.
403, sorry. You're at 403. Thank you. Okay. Having said that, we will now move back to item number 1. And at this point in time, Ty, do you have anything that you need to say at this point?
Yes, I must recuse myself from this project because my employer represents the property owner or has represented the property owner or its general owner. So I will move from the room and let me know when to come back.
Okay, thank you, Ty. I appreciate that. Okay. This is time and place to consider item number 1, site plan review number 2020-04 for the property located at 1801 East 4th Street. At this point in time, we cannot make a decision because we do not have a quorum. So I guess I turn to legal to say, at this point, do we just need to make a recommendation to continue this item till the next regularly scheduled planning commission meeting?
Yes, thank you, Chair McLaughlin. This is a situation where, although you do not have a quorum, so you can't take a motion to continue, but as the chair, you can ask that the item be adjourned to the next regular meeting. Okay? That's clear to me. With that said, I would like to recommend that we postpone this, we continue this item number 1, until the next regularly scheduled meeting, which is Monday, November 9th at 5:30 p.m.
Thank you.
And, all right. With that said, we can bring Ty back into the meeting.
I'm back.
Okay. And at this point in time, let me just get myself here. So at this point in time, we have concluded the business calendar, and we're going to move on to staff comments and commissioner comments. So we'll start with staff comments at this point.
Good evening, Chairman. Is that you?
Who's speaking?
I think I heard Min speaking.
Okay, Mr. Chair.
Hi. I have nothing to discuss at this point, but very quickly an update and a comment as well for the commission.
Thank you, Min.
Thank you, Min.
Just a couple of quick things here. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Is that we have a special meeting scheduled for Thursday, November 5th at 5:30 to talk about the general plan update. It's the only item on the agenda. We'll be asking for your recommendation at that meeting. So we'll be doing a check to make sure everybody can still attend that meeting. That's number 1. The number 2, we've been scheduling one-on-one sessions with the Planning Commission. We have a few scheduled already, but if anybody else wants to meet with staff to talk in a little more detail and drill down about the general plan update, we're more than welcome to have those meetings up until the 5th. So if you'd like, just reach out to Sarah Bernal and she'll schedule a time with you. Thank you.
Okay. Any other staff comments at this point in time?
No, sir.
All right. We'll go to our comments of the commissioners. Commissioner Morrissey, any comments?
Yes, I have one comment. I think the project we just approved kind of highlights an issue where we created a probably an inconsistency in our general plan in terms of density along New Hope in this case. So I think it's areas like this that we should consider when we're adopting the general plan, is to take a look at the city and take care of any zoning inconsistencies we have and address those at the time we adopt the general plan. Save a lot of time instead of essentially spot zoning and changing general plan designations as we go. Better to have it planned out. So hopefully we can address some of these areas that exist in the city.
Okay, Tom, do you have a comment?
Those are the comments I have. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm just going to jump in here and say, does staff have any comments that they'd like to make with regards to Tom's comment? Vince?
Sure, thank you. Is that one of the actions there before you actually for that Mountain View project was trying to create some consistency between zoning and general plan. So that's one of our main focuses there, that we want to be sure that we're sending the right message to our development community by being sure the zoning and general plan are aligned. So that's critical for us as well. The general plan update we're taking before you won't address all the inconsistencies because of just the amount of work involved in that work efforts. We focused really on focus areas on growth for the city. We do realize we have some pockets of the city where there's some inconsistencies, and those are going to come in right after the main cleanup here, and we're going to address all those inconsistencies. We can't do the zoning at the same time because it's a whole different process involved. So the first step is to get our vision in place, which is the general plan. Once we get that general plan vision in place and set the land use designations for the city, then we come in with the next step and we create all the zoning to make sure the zoning becomes consistent. And then we create all the zoning standards for those zoning designations that we're going to have. So those are two work efforts we're going to have in the near future. But for the first part here, next 2 weeks, we'll come before you to really focus on the first part, which is getting that long-range vision, the general plan update in place. So thank you for your comment, though, Commissioner. I appreciate it.
Tom, anything else?
No, not this time. Thank you, Ben.
Okay, Commissioner Finn.
Yeah, I definitely echo Commissioner Morrissey's concern, and I am very excited for us to discuss the general plan. Other than that, I really hope everyone stays safe. I know it's been really windy and the fires are quite scary. So, take care of yourselves, and we will see you soon.
Thank you, Commissioner Finn. Vice Chair Contreras-Leo.
I echo the same sentiment of my colleagues, and also I know that some of our staff here on the Planning Commission may possibly be affected by the fire, so we'll have all of you in prayer and everybody, safety. That's all.
Thank you, Vice Chair Contreras-Leo. From my standpoint, I think Tom has brought up a good point. I'd like to understand a little bit more about how we are going to address these issues, even though we won't address them necessarily in the first phase of the general plan approval. I also, going back to the special meeting that we're planning for November 5th, what do we feel the potential public comment section is going to be at this point in time? I mean, is there some expectation that we may have 20, 30, 40, 50 different items, people talking, or do we think this is going to be a standard meeting that we have 20 or 30 people, or 10 or 5?
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chair, this has been, there's been a number of interested parties that have provided comments to the general plan as well as general plan EIR. It is our expectation that we will have a high level of interest. It won't be something that we have experienced in the past on controversial development projects, but we'll get a good number of folks that would want to speak. In terms of the range of number, I mean, your estimate is pretty good in terms of somewhere around 50, 60 folks. But it could be more, it could be a little bit less. But there will be some interest.
Okay. All right. I have no other comments at this point in time. So with that said, I'd like to adjourn this meeting at 6:28, and the next regularly scheduled meeting is Monday, November 9th at 5:30. Our special meeting is on Thursday, November 5th at 5:30 p.m. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Good night.
Good night. Thank you. Good night.